Hey, what's going on YouTube? So today I'm going to showcase my Endgame Stamplar build for the Firesong DLC patch. This build is capable of pulling over 120k on the Parse dummy and is viable for most group content. For this build, I will be optimizing it for the highest DPS possible within the constraints of my skill, hence mythic and trial gear will be included. This build is meant to be used in organized group content, and as a bonus for this build, I will include a static rotation alternative for those who prefer easier rotations. So starting off in the character sheet, I have 64 points in a stamina, and I'm running the Thief Mundus. For the race, we're a Dark Elf. I think Dark Elves have some of the best passives for stamina DPS. For the food, we're going to be using Artaeum Takeaway Broth for any hard content. A cheaper and almost just good alternative would be Witch Mother's Potent Brew. And lastly, if you're parsing, then Lava Foot Soup and Salt Rice is always the go-to. For the potions, we're going to be using Heroism potions. Reason being is we have access to Major Brutality and Major Savagery, so all we need is Major Endurance. Furthermore, it's gonna allow us to sustain our Magicka skills, and as always, make sure you have 3 points in a medicinal use from the Alchemy skill line to benefit from the full duration of the potions. And as an alternative, you can run Tri-Stat potions and it'll work just fine. So for the CP, for the blue tree, we're gonna be running Exploiter, Deadly Aim, Thaumaturge, and Wrathful Strikes. If you don't have access to Off Balance or you need crit damage, you can swap out Exploiter for either Backstabber or Fighting Finesse. And for the red tree, Bloody Renewal, Rejuvenation, Fortified, and Boundless Vitality. So for the gear, we're going to be running 5 pieces of Pillar and Nirn paired with 2-piece Zon monster set, a Maelstrom Greatsword on the back bar, and 5 pieces of Reliquin. So breaking it down in the main hand, we have a Pillar Nirn Dagger, Nirnhone with a flame damage enchant, and the offhand charge with a poison damage enchant. For the back bar, we have a Maelstrom Perfected Greatsword infused with an increased weapon and spell damage enchant. For the head and shoulders, we have 1 piece Light Zon and 1 piece Medium Zon, both trade in Divines with max dam enchants. And for the rest of the body, we're running 5 piece Reliquin, all traded in Divines with max dam enchants. And for the jewelry, 3 pieces of Pillar Nirn jewelry, all with weapon damage enchants traded in Bloodthirsty. So for the skills, we're going to be running Power the Light, Biting Jabs, Deadly Cloak, Radiant Oppression, Barbed Trap, Flawless Dawnbreaker. On the back bar, Stampede, Carve, Vampire's Bane, Degeneration, Ritual Retribution, and Shooting Star. So for the rotation, I prioritize Power the Light, casting every 6th skill. For the dots, we prioritized Carve, Stampede, Degen, Vampire's Bane, Barbed Trap, Ritual, and Deadly Cloak in that order. And the spammable was Biting Jabs. You can go either Rapid Strikes or Silver Shards. I think they're pretty much similar in damage from what I've tested. Radiant Oppression was used at 40% onwards in place of jabs, but I also kept all my dots up. And towards the end of the parse, I didn't have enough ultimate for Shooting Star, so I did use 1 Flawless Dawnbreaker, and the rest of the parse, I used Meteor whenever it was ready. So for the static rotation, I replaced Carve with Blazing Spear, and also replaced Radiant Oppression with Caltrops. And here's a very simple rotation I came up with. So it goes Power the Light into Stampede and Blazing Spear, and then Degen, Ritual, and Vampire's Bane, basically all of your back bar dots. Bar swap, Power the Light, your 3 front bar dots, Barbed Trap, Deadly Cloak, and Caltrops, and then 2 of your spammable. For this parse, I use Rapid Strikes, and then we go Power the Light, Stampede, and Blazing Spear, followed up with 3 Rapid Strikes, and then we go Power the Light with 5 Rapid Strikes. And then the ultimates were the same. Whenever I didn't have enough for a Shooting Star, I used Flawless Dawnbreaker. And whenever my ultimate was ready, I just replaced one of my spammables with a cast of Shooting Star. So for closing thoughts, the mag sustain is actually kind of hard. I did have to use Power the Light throughout the whole parse to sustain my mag. I did try out some other monster sets, but Zon seemed to be hitting the hardest. Also, I forgot to mention that in the static rotation, I did not use Heroism pots, so it should probably be about 110k DPS, so 10k DPS loss. And the reason why we're not running Radiant Oppression in the static rotation was just because it was too hard to sustain it. So just very quickly, some gear alternatives. Instead of Reliquin, you can run Coral Riptide on the body. It'll do more AoE damage, but you will lose a little bit of single target damage. In terms of replacements for Pillar Nirn, you can go Sororia, Aegis Caller, Berserking Warrior, or Whirl of Depths. They will all parse a little bit lower, but In content, sets such as Whirl Adepts and Aegis Caller could be really good for extra AoE. And if you need a budget build, then you can always go Order's Wrath and Hunting's Rage. And lastly, Deadly is still a really good set on Stamplar, so you can run that as well. And that wraps up the build explanation section of this portion. As always, thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Or better yet, come join our Discord. Link is in the description. As a reminder, if this video helped in any way, please help the channel grow by subscribing and liking the video. I will also have a written guide in the description for those who would prefer that. And lastly, I've also started a channel membership for those who like to go the extra step to help support me so I can focus on more content creation. And as always, feel free to stick around for the attached parse. If not, have a good day and see you in the next one.